everybody.
Hi, friends. Well, from beautiful fall in Salt Lake City, Utah.
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
The podcast.
I'm Frank Feldman.
And I'm Dan Beecher.
And coming up on the show today, we're going to be talking about the wonder of the eclipse.
Ooh.
That just happened here in the western United States.
I mean, it was an annular eclipse. Can you even call that an eclipse?
I mean... just like a transit, right?
It was a solar
the moon
disruption. That's what it was.
Yes, and it was very disrupting, and I resent the eclipse. But you went down to see it.
Yeah, kind of. But we're gonna talk about. I mean, we'll talk a little bit about that. But it put us in mind of some interesting topics. So
yeah, of course.
We're going to be interesting at the end of the show.
Oh, you want to stick around for that, everybody?
Ooh. I can almost promise it.
Oh, no. Well, but first, we have some stuff that happened in the world this week that we need to talk about.
Yeah.
One of which is from a school board trustee up in Alberta. Now, it's actually, what's interesting about this story is that it's a Catholic school board.
Okay.
In the Red Deer School Trustee, something or other. What is it? It's the Red Deer Catholic Regional Schools. That's what it is.
Okay.
So anyway, one of the trustees was sitting at her computer, and she had this delightful meme that she's thinking about sharing and posting on her Reddit, or not Reddit, on her like Facebook or whatnot.
Sure.
And she's like sitting there, she's like, should I post it? Should I not post it? And fortunately for her, the Holy Ghost swooped in and tells her, do it. Go for it. Well,
thank God for the promptings of
and
the Holy Spirit.
It really reveals something about the Holy Spirit, is what I'm going to say here. Like,
okay,
because the meme that she decided to post, it shows there's a picture of children waving swastika flags. Oh, okay, above a picture of children waving pride flags.
Oh,
and the caption says, brainwashing is brainwashing.
Wow.
But the Holy Ghost told her to do it, so it's cool, right?
Wow, Holy Ghost. Well, damn.
According to the rest of the school board, this is a violation of their standards.
Yeah. And even Catholics know better than that.
Which is saying a lot for how bad this was. Yeah, so there's her name is Monique Lagrange. Monique Lagrange, everybody. The school board has decided that she violated its policies and ordered her to issue a sincere apology. She also has to take sensitivity training and recognize that her post hurt feelings, is what it says.
Yeah.
Hurt feelings.
I think that's probably true.
Yeah, it most definitely hurt a lot of feelings. It's also, I don't know, it feels like hurt feelings isn't enough.
Is it? Yeah,
it's not insufficient
descriptor
the depth
description
of how this can affect people, right?
Yeah,
because that's really fucking ugly.
Yeah, that's it's more than just a little baby yikes.
Yeah.
It's that's a big daddy yikes right there.
Yeah, but Lagrange insists that the post is not about the LGBTQ community, she says. This is a quote. The meme post is about indoctrination through the United Nations, which directly correlates to World War II and Nazism. It is about the agenda of the United Nations and Planned Parenthood, which is an attempt to sabotage our youth's identities and destinies and hijacks the LGBTQ community's original mandate.
That is a lot.
It's really hard to follow because it doesn't make an ounce of sense. She goes on to say that the pride flag is used to silence people. Among other things. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that makes total sense. Well, her lawyer one Mr. James Kitchen, said that she is not going to apologize. And they were going to be seeking judicial review of this decision.
Yes.
He wanted to clarify, apparently, that LaGrange wasn't commanded to share the meme, but she saw it, prayed about it, and was given the go-ahead by the Holy Spirit.
Your Honor, the defense calls the Holy Spirit to the stand.
This is a quote from the lawyer. She's just a normal Bible-believing Christian who, when she's considering something, prays about it, which is what Paul says you should do in the New Testament. And then she received the affirmation that she was seeking, so she did it. This is her lawyer. Like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. The truth in the Bible, as offensive as it is to regular people, is that
wow,
is that gay sex is a sin. Transgenderism is a sin, her lawyer said. The apology definitely won't happen. That would violate her conscience, so she can't do that. That would be a sin.
Yeah, it would definitely be literally she made a comparison between gay people and Nazis. So definitely no apology should be forthcoming there at all. Even like non-regular people like Christians can see that, like, you know, that's not the thing. That's not it.
Her lawyer also said that she will not be taking part in the sensitivity training, which he referred to as a, quote, re-education Maoist struggle session type thing where her mind is changed and her brain is washed.
Wow.
All I could say is, oh, Canada, how did Alberta happen? How did you let Alberta happen?
Yeah, come get your boy. He's on a bit of a tear there.
Woo, wowsies.
Damn. That's you know what happened? Idaho leaked up into Canada.
There's definitely something going on.
It's not good. It's not good. I got family in Alberta. I love them dearly, but yeah, it's definitely the not good part of Canada. All right. Calgary's lovely. I don't know. I'm gonna take us. Meanwhile, I don't know if you've heard about it. There seems to be a kerfuffle in Southwest Asia, down in what we would call the Middle East, the Holy Land. There seems to be a bit of a dust up, in the form, as we all know, of a horrific war happening between Hamas and the state of Israel. It's not going well. It's not going well. Yeah. We have lots of thoughts about it, but I will say that a new interlocutor has offered to enter into this to broker peace.
I mean, any help, I'm sure, would be welcomed, Dan.
And I think, frankly, I'm shocked to learn that the peace that was assured to us by Jared Kushner has not come to fruition. It just seems like we just need to get Jared back in there because I'm pretty sure he solved it.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. When you have what can amount to a holy war between two arguing Abrahamic religions, I think that the thing that you need to settle things between the Muslims and the Jews is the Catholic Church. They will solve everything. You just need the other major Abrahamic religion to come in and they'll fix it for you.
Oh no. Who is the Pope saying he's getting involved?
Well, kind of. The Pope's been calling for peace or whatever. There has been a lot of trouble. At first, Israel was very offended by a missive that had been put out by Christian patriarchs in Jerusalem, including my favorite guy. And the reason why I chose to do this story Pier Battista Pizzaballa. We've talked about him before. He's the Patriarch of Jerusalem, the Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem. And yes, Father Pizzaballa is has been trying to do some diplomacy there.
Well, I mean, good. Isn't
that nice?
That's good.
If that guy's middle name isn't Atza Spicy, I'm furious. Pier Battista Atza Spicy Pizzaballa. It's just good sense at this point. Anyway, that's he. Yeah. So yes, I think we can all rest comfortably and easily now that the Holy See has decided to enter the conversation and fix it all, because these problems aren't intractable and they aren't completely impossible at this point. And it's not like both sides aren't bloodthirsty, awful sides trying to completely eradicate other people and utterly dehumanize them. So I think Pope Francis, along with his trusty Pizzaballa sidekick, I think they have a good shot at fixing it.
Yeah. I mean, you need a neutral third party, right?
Just throw more religion at it. Yeah. That's the point. What the conflict didn't have was enough religion.
Yeah, I mean, oh, God. All right. Well, Dan, here's something that I guess didn't have enough religion, but now maybe does. I don't know. That's the student housing at the University of Utah.
Our former alma mater. The local the local school people go to instead of BYU. Right. The public school that is actually like, a decent university.
It's a decent university that has been growing of late.
Yes.
Quite a lot, actually. And they've also sort of recognized, their undergraduate count is over 30,000 now, which was only like 24 when we were students there.
Okay.
So they've grown quite a bit. And there's also a housing crisis, a housing crunch here in Salt Lake City, like most other parts of the country where we have a housing shortage.
Yes.
And so the university has been trying to work on this issue, make the school a little bit less of a commuter college, which it kind of traditionally always was. Had some on-campus housing, but wasn't really heavily utilized. Well, they are rapid. Have you been up there recently? They've built so much student housing. It's crazy. And
I drove past some.
And they have a goal to build 5,000 additional beds over the next 5 years. And well, in a crisis like this, it is nice to know that we have good neighbors in Salt Lake and in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, because they have donated land to help solve this problem, or at least that's how it's being presented, is that they donated the land.
I smell a rat. I hate to be cynical. One doesn't want to be too cynical, but so drop the other shoe.
So the church is providing the land, and then Ivory Homes, which is a big home builder here in Utah,
a local bad quality home builder.
Yeah, but for some reason has amongst people who buy suburban homes, right? Which is most people along the Wasatch Front. People they like Ivory Homes.
Yeah.
They really like them. Their communities have nice amenities and whatnot. And so Ivory has stepped in. They've built the Ivory University House, which living in Ivory University House comes with some strings attached.
Oh dear.
While the church was not able to foist any kind of honor code like they have at BYU onto the students living there, they have found a way to intrude on the students' lives. Students have to sign, who are going to live in the Ivory house.
The Ivory Tower, can we call it that?
Have to sign a core value agreement.
What the fuck?
Which limits them. They cannot bring alcohol, which I believe is probably already a rule in student housing. They have to agree to not smoke pot or do drugs.
Oh my God.
They have to, although I don't think that consume pot is probably a better phrasing. Who smokes it anymore, right?
Don't tell the Ivory Corporation that people aren't smoking it anymore. Let's let them say smoke. And
they can have no overnight guests. They can not possess or view pornographic material.
Come on.
And the U is all on board, right? This article from the Tribune has quotes from the U of U president, Taylor Randall, says this innovative new model for building student housing will transform the university's housing situation and help serve thousands of students. This type of partnership is key to our future growth. We grew by nearly 2% this year, and housing continues to be one of our largest constraints. And that's also
that worries me a lot, because like the University of Utah is the place you go to get away from this shit.
Exactly, right?
In Utah.
And what's also disturbing to a certain extent is that these are like if you just took a picture of one of the rooms, these hands down have to be the most desirable rooms on campus. They have, 440 square foot studio apartments equipped with refrigerators, stoves, spacious bathroom, including obviously utilities and internet. Costs about $1,500 a month for student housing. The smallest studios will cost around $1,250. Wow. They're offering scholarships
for students. That's crazy.
For students, yeah. They're offering scholarships for those who can't afford the cost of the housing. The goal is to have 25% of students living in Ivory University House to come from, quote, economically challenged backgrounds. And but my issue is this agreement. This is a quote from the presiding bishop, he's the second counselor in the presiding bishopric of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. He says, I love how they've created what they call a core value of agreement. I think it's amazing that each of these residents have signed on their honor to live that kind of lifestyle here. They do it not just for themselves. And of course, these standards are not forced, but they are enforced. I love stupid Mormons speak. It's not
they're
forced.
Not forced.
It's
but
enforced.
They're enforced? Then it's forced. What the fuck are you talking about?
If somebody wants to live there, these are forced on them. They reserve the right to evict anybody who is not following the rules. Now, I was like, how in God's name can they do this on campus? Right?
Yeah.
Well, for all of the church's grand donation of land, I looked up who owns the parcel. The church. Yeah. The church still owns the parcel. Ivory Homes built the building, and they have some sort of partnership with the U to be providing quote unquote on-campus housing because it's campus adjacent.
Yeah. Utah listeners, you should be writing letters to the university right now.
The university needs to actually disconnect from this agreement.
Yeah.
This is wrong. This is
like
absolutely
100%. Like there needs to be outcry about this.
The housing can be there. It can be an option for the students that want to live in that kind of place. But from what I gather, the way that this is being presented is that the university might actually, they're calling it a partnership. So this is an option in their student housing at this point.
Get out.
So this is wrong.
Everybody needs to, if you have no connection to the University of Utah, write a letter. Everybody write a letter. Write a letter to the editor. Yeah. At the Tribune or whatever.
If, there's got to be at least a few of us who are, who went to the University of Utah. Like,
Yeah.
write in, say you're a University of Utah alum and you're outraged by this partnership.
Yeah.
No.
This is not acceptable.
Yeah.
At all. I am furious.
I really am, because they know, because they have they knew that the church had to hold on to the land, which of course the church is not going to donate prime land to anyone. They don't do that. They don't do that. They do these 99-year land leases, right? They don't give away their shit like that. That's valuable. One caveat here, Dan, would be that this is listed on their website under like off-campus housing. But what really bothers me about this whole thing is the university president showing up to the grand opening, and the I didn't mention this before, but the mayor of Salt Lake City showing up to it lends it this like officialness, right? That this is official and should be sought after on campus housing. It is. I know exactly the parcel. It is immediately adjacent. It's where the old Institute building was. It felt like it was on campus anyway, right? And so
and it's considered student housing. That gives it that air anyway.
And it's up in the area where they're building tons of new student housing, and it's this one spot. And I just think it's wrong. I think it's wrong for the university to lend it this kind of credibility or officialness or whatever. Yeah.
All right. We object. There you go. Speaking of objections, I'm taking us to New Jersey, where a middle school, Chatham Middle School, and we may have covered this a few years ago. There was a lawsuit. A couple of parents were furious because their students were exposed to learning about Islam. Oh no. And they were forced to watch a very bad video, which I watched the bulk of. It's a 5.5 minute video about sort of the basics of Islam. I'm a Muslim. My religion is Islam. It's a cartoon with two kids talking, and one of them's just teaching the other about what they believe. It's harmless. It's really bad. It's badly produced, and whoever made it should feel ashamed of themselves. But it's harmless. You just learn about what Muslims believe in it. But of course, the Christian moms were up in arms. They're teaching our kids Islam. They don't teach about Christianity or Judaism. Yes, they do. It was just in a different segment of the class, so it was separated by a few weeks. They only teach. They're indoctrinating our kids into Islam. So they sued, and the judge said, "No, thank you. That is, you are incorrect." But the judge used a very useful legal test called the Lemon test, based on a lawsuit named after the plaintiff. Alton Lemon, I think, was the name. And that the Lemon test was a really good legal test that basically just said that it had three things that any legislation had to pass in order to pass the Lemon test, which was the legislation would have to have a secular purpose. The principal effect of the statute would have to be that it neither advanced nor inhibited religion. So far, so good.
Mm-hmm.
And the statute couldn't result in an excessive entanglement of government and religion. So,
okay,
this was a very, very good legal test for for whether something was crossing the line of church-state separation.
Sure. Okay.
So the district court judge, a guy named Kevin McNulty, in 2020 used the Lemon test and said, "Yeah, this is bunk. You're dumb. This is fine. It's showing this video to teach kids about what Muslims believe, not to indoctrinate them, just to teach them what they believe.
Mm-hmm.
And, their own kids said that there was no temptation to join Islam based on this thing, but oh well.
Right. Okay.
Anyway, he dismissed the case. But then, because we have such a great Supreme Court right now, some trials went through where the Supreme Court decided to say that the lemon test was no longer in effect. Even though the Supreme Court is where the lemon test came from. So
Okay.
So now, yes, in Kennedy versus Bremerton, the lemon test was murdered. And so they sent it. So then they sent it back to McNulty to decide again without the lemon test. You're not allowed to use the lemon test now.
Okay.
Good news. There's still plenty of reasons why that is a dumb lawsuit. So McNulty was like, same, second verse, same as the first. No, you don't get to sue for teaching about Islam.
Oh my God.
And your Islamophobia is not welcome here.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
It's a hell of a ride.
So you just, I love it.
And who knows, they may appeal it all the way up. This wasn't just brought obviously by these parents, because most parents can't afford to sue this hard.
Right.
So there's a group called the Thomas More Law Center that's a big right-wing thing that's backing it.
Right.
And we'll see if they really want to pursue it.
These
beyond
people,
this.
they really want a ruling on this. It seems like any ruling that says you can't show something like this about Muslims, I don't know how you can say that without saying that absolutely no religious anything can be in the schools.
Right. It does seem like they're in danger of that. Although with our current Supreme Court, hypocrisy's no problem for them.
So they're just going to rule that, no, sorry, you can't teach anything to do with Islam in our public schools.
You can teach Christianity just fine, but Islam's gross and mostly brown people, so no.
Well, I mean, that's so transparently awful and hypocritical that I hope they do. I hope they make that ruling because it looks so bad.
Yes. This court is already going to go down in history as being the
an
nasty
absolute joke
thing that it is. So
we
don't need any more people's lives hurt.
No. I'm joking. Clearly, we want to have teachers have the ability to teach reasonable things, right, in the classroom, and
it's okay
don't
to teach
institutionalize a religion. That's what we want.
It's okay to teach about religions, just not to teach religion.
Exactly. Boy, that's a hard one for Christians to understand, though.
They just cannot get that. It's like just literally reverse it a little bit.
Yeah. All right. Well, Dan, here's an update about Oklahoma's first in the nation religious public charter school. That's being funded by state funds, right?
Love it. It's my favorite thing.
Well, the state attorney general in Oklahoma has sued the state school board that approved this, saying that they can't do this. They can't use public funds for this.
What?
Let's see.
How dare they?
The lawsuit says, make no mistake, if the Catholic Church were permitted to have a public virtual charter school, a reckoning will follow in which this state will be faced with the unprecedented quandary of processing requests to directly fund all petitioning sectarian groups. Yes.
Correct.
Yeah. Thank you. A lawyer an attorney general who's actually being kind of real here. This is, of course, the St. Isidore of Seville Catholic Virtual Charter School, which is sponsored.
I think Virtue Charter School is probably more correct.
Sponsored by the Archdiocese of Oklahoma City. Let's see. The article that I found on this points out that Oklahoma's constitution specifically prohibits the use of public money or property from being used directly or indirectly for the use or benefit of any church or system of religion. And nearly 60% of Oklahoma voters rejected a proposal in 2016 to remove that language from the Constitution. Good on them.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have expected that.
It might go the other way now.
The governor, Kevin Stitt, has criticized the attorney general this lawsuit as a
For caring about, don't care about the law.
He says
care about Jesus.
He calls it a political stunt. A.G. Drummond. Yeah, the guy's name is, what is it? Getner Drummond. That's quite the name. A.G. Drummond seems to lack any firm grasp on the constitutional principle of religious freedom and masks his disdain for the Catholics' pursuit by obsessing over non-existent schools that don't neatly align with his religious preference.
Oh,
so he's saying he doesn't like
projecting.
Catholics.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's Oklahoma. They don't like Catholics. But,
no, that's true. But if I were you guys, I'd be much more worried about Lucian Greaves coming up with a school.
Oh, no kidding. How do they not see it, Dan? How do they just not fucking see it?
Because again, they are not worried about being hypocrites. They are fine with that. So they are fine with excluding one whole group, even as they make the argument that that group would make for their own thing.
Yeah.
All right. Fine. Well, that'll be fun to see how that plays out.
Won't it? I know. It's
will
one to
the
follow.
law win? Yeah.
I have my Google search already set.
Yeah. All right. Well, finally, I'm going to take us to Pennsylvania, where there is a law on the books that's been there. It's one of those fun laws that's been there since 1861.
Yeah.
But nobody's been prosecuted under that law since like 1935 or whatever. But it's on the books. It's still there. It exists.
Oh, okay.
And so when Police Chief Chad Martin of Hanover Borough Police Department saw that a new store had popped, or that a store was there that offered, I'll just say what the law is. The law says that if you deliberately say that you can predict the future and you let someone pay you to do so, you are a swindler and you are breaking the law. It comes with a up to a year in prison and a possible $2,500 fine if you are convicted of this law. And I'll be honest, I'm a little of two minds because, the people who predict the future for people for money are swindlers.
Yeah.
That is not a thing that humans can actually do.
Right.
So yes, if you say that you can do that and you let someone pay you to do it, you are technically committing a fraud. However, if the police chief goes into a store called, what is it called? Serpent's Key Shop and Sanctuary, but shop spelled in that old-timey way.
Oh, sure, yeah. Is it also ye old?
Yeah, they didn't put the ye old, but it is implied. Where they offer tarot card readings. Apparently there are signs that explicitly say this is just for fun. This is not real. They're not saying this is not real, but this is for entertainment purposes only.
Right.
Which is sort of the legal out that most psychics and mediums and whatever use. But yeah, it's just tarot card readings. Tarot doesn't even predict the future the way psychics do. Tarot is usually just like, you get a little bit of life advice from someone who doesn't know you. And and that's that.
Right.
you reveal a whole bunch of things to them, and then they magically seem to know things about you.
You go in for your unlicensed therapy session, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But anyway, the cops went in and warned them about this law. Hey, this law exists. I'm not arresting you now, but if anybody complains, I may have to come in and arrest you.
Boy, I want to live in a town where the police have time to worry about tarot cards.
Where the chief of police comes in to do this. What they didn't see coming was that one of the people at this at ye olde serpent key shoppy and sanctuary has a pretty decent TikTok following.
Oh,
and complained about this, and suddenly there was outcry.
Good.
And the chief was forced to put out a statement that is not helpful. By the way, doesn't apologize or anything. Just says, "Hey, if you don't like this law, you should probably talk to your legislators because we're just doing our jobs as the cops."
My hands are tied.
What am I supposed to do? All I can say is this: if you live in or around the Hanover borough in Pennsylvania, I don't know where that actually is, but if you live in that area, the borough of Hanover, maybe call the cops on a prophet or two.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, go to a church for a couple weeks in a row and wait until the pastor says something about the future.
Mm-hmm.
And then file a complaint. Let's see if they do anything.
Yeah. Maybe don't use 911.
No,
because it's not an emergency.
It's not an emergency. Don't tie up the phone lines.
But they probably have a non-emergency number. Yeah.
Call the cops.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that are doing the most of this. A tarot reading almost never predicts the future.
Right.
But an evangelical pastor, you're going to get that guy.
Oh.
Just call the cops. It's Title 18, Section 7104 of the of the state code or whatever.
Yeah. All right. Let's get them.
Go get them. So there you go. And let us know how that goes. I'm going to guess that it's going to go exactly nowhere, but try it. It could be fun. And then write into us about that or about anything that we've talked about. It's podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. We'd love to hear from you. The telephone number is 424-666-8442. Stick around. There's more show coming up.
Well, Frank.
Yes, Dan.
We have talked. We have played clips of Shane Vaughn before.
Oh, I love Shane Vaughn.
He's a prophet.
Mm-hmm.
He's a pastor.
Mm-hmm.
And
a Jerry Lewis lookalike.
He is a Jerry Lewis lookalike. He is very much so. If only he were entertaining in the way that Jerry Lewis has been in his life. If only,
hey, Jesus!
Yehaven! So anyway, Shane Vaughn will be attempting to entertain us with this particular little clip. I don't want to give away any spoilers, but we're having a whole little dust up here in these United States regarding not having a Speaker of the House currently.
It is. If it wasn't just like so horrible that they cannot get their act together, it is wildly entertaining. Like it totally has my attention.
It can be both things. Anyway, it was announced a few days ago, last week, that that Jim Jordan was going to be the nominee.
Oh God,
for Speaker of the House, and this was prophet and MAGA pastor Shane Vaughn's response to when that happened.
Just hours ago, Jim Jordan was nominated to be the next Speaker of the House. Now, this spells major trouble for the Democrats. So let me just sing my little song real quick. I told you so. Oh, I told you so. You know why? Because Professor Toto many times can see the news behind the news. And this was Yahweh's plan from the beginning. Kevin McCarthy got in the way, but Donald Trump removed Kevin McCarthy. Today, Jim Jordan is preparing to step in as leader and Speaker of the House of Representatives. He is the proxy of Donald Trump. Literally, Donald Trump is the Speaker of the House. We've had a great victory today, a great victory. Jim Jordan will be the next Speaker of the House, just as Professor Toto told you so. Oh, I told you so. I told you so. Yes, I told you so.
Well, Frank.
Oh, he told us. Oh.
Shockingly, do you want to update Shane Vaughn on what happened?
Oh, poor. I'm so sorry, Shane, to have to tell you this. Yeah, that didn't happen.
I told you so, Shane Vaughn.
Yeah. Wow. Like, I mean, I know that part of being like a quote unquote prophet is that you got to get to it before it happens, right?
Yeah.
You got to tell us something but you got to be a little more informed, right? Like it was not a given that Jim Jordan was going to get the speakership. Like at any point in the process, it was not a given.
Jim Jordan had his ass handed to him.
Oh God. It was fun to watch. It was terrifying because it was like that man cannot be Speaker of the House. Like,
right.
Because his first official duty would be just setting fire to the building.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah, he was one of the big supporters of the January 6th thing. Like he's bad. A nightmare.
Bad man.
But I do love when Professor Toto, are you kidding me? That's what you call yourself, Professor Toto? Gloats. Just gloats because he can see the news behind the news, Frank.
Oh God.
What he didn't realize is that there's news sitting directly behind the news that is much different news.
It's just, I mean, this whole thing, it's been really wild to watch.
Yeah.
And I just think that the best thing that's come out of it is is my awareness of the smartly dressed Patrick McHenry.
I follow mostly through audio media. I don't know how Patrick McHenry dresses.
Oh, really, Dan? You haven't seen pictures of him with his little bow tie and he's like in his 40s, but he's got fully silver hair and he dresses nice, right? And he just has kind of this like physical presence up on the dais that I believe
somebody has a crush.
No. But it's kind of like just strangely charming, even though he's a very conservative man and he's currently sort of in power, but he's not crazy.
Well, yeah.
Right?
All right.
So, but anyway.
We have some folks wrote into us, so I'm going to get to that now. Jay wrote in to just say a quick thought about this requirement to support and defend the Constitution, quote, so help me God. You'll remember last week we did a story from New Jersey.
Yeah.
Where that was required just to run for office, not even to hold office. It was required just to run for office to swear, so help me God. Jay goes on to say, anyone requiring this oath is in clear violation of their own. At least a paradox, but reason for an impeachment? You're not wrong. Obviously requiring that, and I think it was the AG's office or something is, I don't remember who it was, but yes, the requirement of the oath. Yeah, if anybody would enforce anything in this country, that would absolutely be a violation of the Constitution. But, okay,
that's funny.
We're in the worst possible timeline, so nothing will happen.
I think things are going to get better. I'm strangely optimistic.
Yeah, I mean,
If
it does feel like after you hit rock bottom like 22 times,
yeah,
and each time you think you've hit rock bottom, but you realize that was just the plateau, and you're continuing your tumble downward. Eventually, you got to go, oh, this is actual rock bottom.
Yeah.
It's time to start climbing back up.
like I'm not going to get out on like some prophet limb here or whatnot, and I don't want to jinx anything.
I told you so.
I don't want to jinx anything, but I am just like, I am trying to like manage my like glee watching like the slow paced, methodically slow paced unraveling of Donald Trump. Right. And it's going so slow that I'm terrified because like if he becomes president again, what the fuck?
Right.
But like if he's sitting in a jail cell somewhere, like
that's pretty optimistic right there.
I know, but I'm still feeling so hopeful.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that
It's such a slow burn. It's so good.
There's so many things that are happening to him and at him and whatever. There's definitely a lot of entertainment to be had.
There's a reckoning of sorts that's happening, and
I'm still until a
so
gavel comes
unhinged.
down.
I know.
I'm struggling.
I mean, I'm terrified of Trump if he's not imprisoned.
Yeah.
Right, because he will be the most unhinged, just rabid, wild dog running around.
Yeah.
Our media.
Hopefully people
landscape.
are starting, like, hopefully like certain people, every time something happens, another, like, you know, few people look at it and go, well, maybe this isn't just a conspiracy against him. Maybe he actually did something. Is that possible? All right. Larry wrote into us. Larry says, hi, Frank and Dan. I wanted to write in about my experience with a couple of Mormon missionaries from a few months back. Ooh, Mormon missionaries. I happen to live next door to an LDS temple here in Missouri.
Oh.
And for the first time in the 4 years I've lived in the area, 2 missionaries came knocking on my door. I answered, noticed their name tags, and immediately told them I was not interested and that I'm an atheist. Both of them didn't seem too pushy and left after a couple of minutes. Now they have not been back since then, but is there a chance they might come back again, or will they know not to come over knowing that I'm not interested? As the resident former missionary, I yield to you to answer at least the first part of the question, which is, will they have paid attention and will they know not to return?
Okay. Like, I don't know. But
Awesome.
no, like, so they, I don't know how they're doing it now because like I served a mission 20 some odd years ago, right?
Yeah, almost 30.
Almost 30 years ago. Dan, shut up. But like, so I'm not entirely sure of like their practices at this point, but we always kept like just like a journal of sorts that was left for the next missionaries,
right?
That just tracked what we had been up to, right? Where we had gone knocking, and if there was anybody that was worth following up on, right? So it totally 100% like depends on how much they felt the spirit about you, right? Like if there was something where they were like, you know, elder, I really feel like that was this Larry, did you say?
Yeah.
I really feel like that Larry guy, he's worth going back for, right? Like
there's something there.
Yeah.
He was almost nice to us. We should definitely go back and try and get him.
Yeah. So, I mean, it just depends. Like, there might be a note that says Larry at such an address equals atheist,
Yeah.
and don't bother. Right. I don't know if they're not, unless you were like really awful to them, they're not going to like completely, dust their shoes of you or whatever. Right.
Right.
Like,
But that's not a good reason to be awful to them. Don't be awful to the missionaries.
no, don't be
They're
awful.
They're just kids.
Just be really clear about what you want. And if you don't want them coming around again, I would just be very, very clear, polite, but clear, and just say, hey, listen, like, I don't know what kind of record keeping you keep for the next round of missionaries, but I know you guys get replaced a lot. Could you please just put a note that this address is not one to come knocking on?
Yeah.
So I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Or conversely, you can do the other thing that we recommend, which is invite them in, give them some food and water, and then say, hey, I have some chores around the house that need doing. Do you want an opportunity to do service? I'm not interested in your church at all, but I'll play some cool music. And if you want an opportunity to do service, I'm offering it to you. And then watch as their eyes light up while they don't have to go door to door anymore.
Yeah.
They can just do your housework for you.
It depends. Again, it depends on the missionary. I would have probably been like, yeah, I'll kill some time here. Sure.
Yeah. If you're nice to them,
yeah,
that's free labor for you.
Yeah. But I mean, we had just random people who I always knew weren't all that interested, but we would go drop in on them because they were nice. Yeah. And they were always like kind to us and like willing to sit and even just talk about whatever. Right.
Yeah.
Just because like you're so
give
desperate.
them access to the internet. That's what you do. They don't
I
get
think
that
the offer
stuff.
to play some music and be like, hey, listen, like I know you probably can't like request anything cool, but like if you don't like what I'm playing, I'll change the station.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know?
And or let them be like, hey, I accidentally turned on my Xbox. You guys could probably sit there and play for a while if you wanted to.
How did that happen?
Oh, did I just make your lives a little more tolerable? All I'm saying is that these kids get tortured. This shit is so
It's really
awful
awful
to do to them.
Yeah.
That it would be an act of kindness. And then when they think back on their mission, they'll be like, you know what really good experience I had was at that atheist's house.
Well, and that fucks with the whole broader like brainwashing part because the point of the mission, it's 2 years of brainwashing, right? And part of the brainwashing is that they're up against the rest of the world, right? That people, the abuse that people serve Mormon missionaries serves the Mormon church's end goal, which is retention, right? That abuse has the opposite effect for these young missionaries.
Yeah, it solidifies it for them.
Yeah. Yeah. And so like if you're like being kind and nice and good and offering them a view of the world, like I would find that really hard to do because I'm just too close to it. But if you're out, dear listener, like if you're out there and you're like willing to like take on a little bit of a project, you could really change somebody's perspective on the world. Right. Like
definitely don't try to like talk them out of their religion, their beliefs or anything. Like they won't be able to hear that and they'll just see you as an anti-Mormon person or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you just are kind to them, it'll break their brain.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it has potential of breaking their brain.
Yeah. That's true. Not
it's not going to work for everyone, but like,
it's worth a shot.
They'll want to like leave you with the scripture or a prayer and be like, well, it doesn't really do anything for me, but if it does something for you, that's fine.
And don't let them, for the love of God, don't let them give you the lessons.
Oh, yeah.
You will learn nothing and you'll just be bored to tears. That will kill it for you. Any spirit of goodness in you will be destroyed by those boring, dumb lessons.
The good missionaries, though, you don't even know you just got taught a lesson.
Ooh.
It's so conversational.
Yeah.
And that's apparently what they've been pushing lately is that you just go and you talk about these things. That's what I've heard. So
Anyway, report
Instead of
back
like
to
little
us.
flip charts, remember those? They would
Yeah.
have like little
I mean,
objects.
how else are you supposed to teach someone if you don't have a flip chart? Yeah, if you try any of this shit, report back to us. I want to hear.
I totally
how
want to
things
hear
go.
about it. Yeah.
All right. Well, we got some folks to thank. I'll start us off with a new teacher. I'm going to say teacher.
Wow.
And this is a one-time donation over on PayPal. This is Calvin. Thank you so much. You now have magic powers. You are a grand poobah, if you will. Or just a teacher.
Yeah,
You have
that's better.
all the magic powers that Frank and I were given as 14-year-old kids. So have
Indeed.
fun with that. If you, listener at home, think that you would like to have magic powers and that you like the show and you'd like to support our work here because, we are ad-free, we are only listener-supported. It's the only way that we can keep this thing going. We so appreciate our patrons. You can go to thankgodimatheist.com and click on the support tab, and then you can choose Patreon or you can choose PayPal. Either way, and give us just whatever amount of money you choose. We'll bestow upon you magic powers. We'll thank you here on the air, and we'll appreciate you eternally. There is patrons only content that's weekly. That's extra content. So if that excites you, get over there.
Yeah, and as always, Dan, we have our top donor to thank, our Lord and Savior, Davis.
More show coming up. So, Frank,
Dan.
a few years back, you and I separately had the opportunity to go to Idaho to see a full solar eclipse, to experience totality.
And it was a remarkable experience.
Yeah, like cooler than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Like I had some inkling of what it was going to be, but like when like the moon fully 100% covered, the sun up, and you could look directly up at, what was happening in the heavens.
Yeah.
It was truly an awe-inspiring event.
Yeah.
Like it was a little mind-blowing, in fact. Like it was just like, what in the fuck am I looking at?
Yeah. Even though we knew exactly what was coming.
Yeah.
We had all of the we were there because of it. We had traveled hundreds of miles, or 100 of miles. I don't know exactly how far we traveled. Anyway, so just this last week, there was an annular solar eclipse here, which means that the moon isn't close enough to the Earth to actually cover the whole sun.
Right.
So you get what they call the ring of fire,
right?
Where the sun's peeking through on all sides. But if you're in the right spot, you get a full circle, and that's kind of cool.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I like here in Salt, you drove down, to the zone where you could actually see that.
Well,
I was just
that's
up here
where I thought I was going.
Oh, you didn't see totality or the ring of fire?
And I saw mostly apparently our friend's property to which we had been invited. Apparently they didn't do the research to figure out that, oh no, this isn't actually quite in the zone.
Center. Oh, that's okay. Nonetheless, like, I got my little solar glasses out from or eclipse glasses out from the last time, and I just took the dog for a walk as it was like kind of getting a little dark outside and everything. I was like, like it's the mood really changes in a weird way, right?
Yeah.
As the sun starts to get blocked out and the shadows are really weird.
Yeah, the shadows get fuzzy.
Yeah.
In a weird way.
Yeah. And it's just like, but yet there's still a direct light source. So there are shadows, but it's like somebody just took the dimmer switch and like turned it way, 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 way down. And it's just kind of cool, right?
And creepy and weird. And yeah, like
so,
the light doesn't look right.
Yeah. And so I just went and wandered around, and I had my little glasses, and I kept, sort of looking up and looking at the progress and everything. And it's still a neat experience, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's definitely one that leads you to kind of like ponder, like, wow, what would the ancients like what did they really think about this when this happened? And totality is just like, literally like people like had to just fucking lose their minds looking up at that, right?
It is so, it's funny because I remember being a student and talking, somebody bringing up the idea of like, oh, the ancients must have been so freaked out by a solar eclipse. And, that I had heard that before. But when you experience it, you're like, oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
This would be terrifying.
Absolutely.
There is no doubt when that happens, it feels like something supernatural is occurring.
Oh, totally.
Like, how could you possibly not think that if you don't have a scientific background, a basis to know what's going on?
Yeah, no, totally. And so we were just kind of thinking about that, and like when you're faced with that sort of like awe-inspiring event, it kind of makes sense why people like reached for like, supernatural explanations. Like you needed something.
Yeah.
You had to have some kind of explanation.
Yeah, humans are not good at just going, I guess I just don't know.
Huh.
That's a
all
thing.
right.
Well, that was a very unusual thing, and I'll never know the answer to that.
That was wild. Huh.
Which is logically the only correct response.
Yeah.
The only correct response to unexplained phenomenon, unexplained phenomenon is, well, that's unexplained.
Right. But instead, the human mind very quickly jumps to God is angry.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I've done something wrong. Who in the village needs to be murdered because that was fucked up?
Sorry, Janet. It's kind of your turn.
Everybody turns to Janet. So, and then that is when quick thinking Janet goes, have you guys all thought about how weird Susan looks right now? What did you do, Susan? I saw Goody Proctor with the devil, and then somebody gets murdered.
Yeah.
It's just a testament, really, to how science is going to save us. We are not saved by any stretch of the imagination. There is still so much superstition and nonsense, and people still, the day that you and I are recording this, Frank, is actually the third, I think, anniversary of the death of James Randi.
Oh, okay.
Beloved magician and debunker James Randi, who we met one time. And he, I have made it. I have apparently started a tradition of just on the anniversary of his death, writing about something that should be debunked that people still believe in. So like last year, I posted a thing on Facebook about homeopathy, which is silly nonsense.
Right.
And today I posted a thing about chiropractic, which is also silly nonsense. And if you need to read about it, because that was started not as a science, but as a religion, everybody, in case you're unaware, like the guy who started it, a guy named Palmer, literally compared himself to Jesus, Muhammad, Joseph Smith, and Mary Baker Eddy. So that's a fun bit of company to keep yourself in when you think, and then calling all of the practitioners doctors is a real cute little trick. But I think the point is we're still the same dumb critters that saw eclipses and decided that something needed to be murdered. So we're not evolved past that. That's where we are.
Yeah.
Still.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
But the glory of science is that it can move beyond our idiot brains.
Well, it can help make that realm of things that require you to go out and murder to be smaller.
Right.
It's a smaller, like, little circle now of things that are going to blow your mind so much that, you know, poor Janet, you know, gets the axe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, as it does this, we don't even necessarily notice a lot of the ways that it does it, but because we all knew that the eclipse was coming and we could travel to it and we had eye protection and we knew, you know, certain ding-dongs aside, President Trump, we all knew not to look directly at it. And we all knew like that we all knew all of this stuff, not because we as a species have gotten any better, but because, you know, we have developed ways of knowing that are better.
Yeah.
And that's all, you know, that's all. The whole scientific method is just maybe we can know better than we knew before. We have a better way of knowing.
It inoculates us against, you know, grabbing the pitchforks.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I think when we have a moment like that with a solar eclipse or whatever, it's a great moment to just say, thanks, science. I really appreciate you figuring this out so that me and the dum-dums around me don't go killing each other or
go crazy. Yeah.
Doing whatever ritual we think we need to do to satisfy an entity that isn't there who we think is mad.
Yeah. But also, like, go see this shit, guys. Like,
oh yeah.
Like, if you have a chance, there's another one coming up next year, right?
A total one and it's going to be here in the United States, and it's going to start in southern Texas, and the path of totality cuts all the way up to like Burlington, Vermont, and beyond. So like that's a big swath of America that you can get yourself to experience this phenomenon, and hopefully it won't be cloudy.
Yeah, that's the real bummer, right? Like, you're just waiting and waiting and waiting.
Yeah, maybe
weather. You make all these plans and you travel to the zone and
scan each of the places that you're considering for past history of cloudiness. look for rain weather patterns. I don't know. Anyway, if you would like to tell us about your experience with your dumb person brain having a cool experience, feel free to write into us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah, go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist, and click the like button.
And if you'd like to join one of our members-only lounges, you can do so by going to our website, thankgodimatheist.com/members-only.
Thanks so much to the Red Rock Hot Club for the use of their music.
And thanks to Gordon Johnston for the use of his music.
And thanks to all of you for tuning in. We sure do appreciate you.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.